guys, this is Aaron Eads from the Rookie Project. Today we're gonna go over how to add detail to the small segment of the castle walls. So let's go ahead and get started. I'll go ahead and tell you what I have done already. I've taken the segment, I've subdivided it, or added some loop cuts so that we get nice square faces. That way when we add our multi-resolution modifier, we'll get nice square faces to to model with, or to sculpt with. On a different layer I've got a low resolution version of the segment, of the wall segment. That's what we'll be using to bake our normal map texture to. And if we go over to my brushes, I've added 7 stone displacement brushes that I'll use to sculpt with. And let's go ahead and get started with that. So first I need to add a multi-resolution modifier to my wall right here. Change it from Catmull Clark to simple, because otherwise it'll start to smooth it like that, and that's not what we want. So simple and subdivide, and let's subdivide it, we'll do 6 times. Alright, and I'm going to turn it off. I'm going to turn on optimal display, and let's go into sculpt mode, and right off the bat I'm going to turn on fast navigate. That way it's not going to lag while I spin around my viewport. Alright, we're going to set up our brush, so let's go change it to brush, or you can hit the B key, or excuse me, change it to hit the D key, change it to brush, and we're gonna add our texture to it. We'll use the first one for now, and now we can start painting on, but that is not quite what we want. First thing we need to do is change the brush mapping from tiled to view plane. Okay, and then that's gonna help us out a little bit. Next, stroke, change it from space to drag dot. That way we can click and then we can move it around, and we can place one stone at a time this way. And one last thing we need to do is we need to change our curve from this sort of smooth curve to the straight fall off. That way we get all of our stone and it doesn't fade it around the edges. Okay, and last thing I like to do is turn on the overlay. That way I can kind of see the stone I'm about to place before I place it. Alright, so I'm just going to start by adding a couple of these stones, then I'll change to a different stone and start adding it. Put one here, no, here, and here for now. Get a different stone. This one I'm going to maximize my view here. Control up arrow, by the way. Put a stone here. Just like this, you know, anywhere. And maybe sort of a messy grid pattern also. You might want to change the size of the stone, so that way, even though it's a repeating texture, at least you're getting a different size. Alright, and I'll go ahead and switch over to a different one. I've got 7. That's weird. My overlay didn't update. Well, that's okay. And remember, with drag dot we can click and hold and put it wherever we want and adjust it. So I'm just going to do a couple more of these, and then I'm going to pause the video while I lay the rest, because I'm just doing the same thing over and over again. I'm grabbing a different stone texture and putting it on the model. So get one more, then I'll pause it. Alright, see you in a sec. One other thing that I want to show you is changing from drag dot to anchored. And I can do this, let's say I want to place, this stone, but I want to rotate it around maybe 90 degrees or 180 degrees. So I can use anchored mode, and that's going to size it and rotate it according to where I drag my mouse cursor, so that's handy. So I can place this stone right here and put it sideways. But the only thing about this that's tricky is getting your mouse cursor in the right position. And I put another one over here. Because right now, see, these two are the same stone, but even if I just flip it upside down, it's not immediately obvious. So that's another thing that you can do. Alright, and one other thing is that you can also set the angle over here, underneath angle. So I can spin this stone 90 degrees and then just place them with the drag dot method. You can even do random. It's probably not the best here, just because we kind of want our stones to be sort of aligned at 90 degrees, but that's pretty cool though, I guess. Anyway, alright, I'm back. I went ahead and put all the rocks in. You notice I only put them on one side, and that is because we're going to use this geometry, and it's going to be mirrored in our normal map, so I'm not going to worry about doing that side. One more thing I need to do is smooth out these harsh corners. So I'm just taking a smooth brush, no texture or anything, and just running along the corners. It doesn't have to be real nice looking. In fact, you might want to add some imperfection to it. Alright, and I'm just going to do this for all the corners. Alright, now that I finished that, I'm going to go ahead and start baking out this geometry to our low res. So switching back to object mode, and let me turn down the preview. Alright, and I'm going to bring this one to the first layer with my other one. Okay, so let me select my low res one and go into the UV image editor, tab into edit mode, and I've got just a test texture on here. And you want to make sure that you have an image selected, so you can go to image new, give it a name. I'll give it wall color, make it a 2K texture, turn off alpha because we don't need it. Alright, now we're ready to bake. So what we do is we select our high res one, shift right click to add to our selection the low res one. So our low res is active and our high res is selected. Bake mode, normals. Everything is good. Turn on selected to active. Increase the margin a little bit. and let's just let it bake. Alright, so we can see that it baked out the normals, but one thing I forgot to do is you can see that there's kind of a couple of problems around here. Like there's there's pieces missing from it, and that's because on our low res we have overlapping UVs. So I put these on top of each other, this side and that side. That way I could use the same space for the different geometry. So what we're going to have to do, I think, is Shift D to duplicate our low res. Let's move it to the third layer. And we're going to delete everything that repeats, which is just this part. That way I can bake to this one, and it'll only bake the normals on this side, and it won't try to do the other side, because when it tries to do both sides we get this sort of weird trying to cut in and out of each other. So we can move this back to the first layer with our high res, select our high res, select our low res, and once again hit bake and wait for it. Alright, so now when we look at it, it looks all good. We got all our pieces together, and I can take this, go to my full low res building, turn on display, textured solid, and we can see that it's working. It's got this same normal map data applied to both sides. And so now what we're going to want to do is enable GLSL shading so that we can visualize it with how normal maps are supposed to look. So go to display, shading mode, turn on GLSL, and then we're going to go to texture view mode, and it's black, and that's because I don't have any lights in my scene. So I'm just going to add a basic sun lamp and rotate it a little bit, just like that. That looks pretty good. Next, add a material, go to textures, new texture, call it whatever, and one more thing, I forgot to save that normal map we just baked out, so let me get that. F3 to save. I'm just going to put it on my desktop. Okay, now we can go back and get this put together. Desktop. Okay, that doesn't look good because we need to change our mapping to UV. Nice. Color mode, change it, turn off color mode, change it to normal mode. And that is not what we want it to look like, and that is because under image sampling we need to tell Blender to sample this as a normal map. And when we do that, it looks tons better. So we can spin our lights around and see that we got nice looking rocks there. So next we're gonna do a bit of texture work, but that will be in the next tutorial. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed the tutorial. Like I said, in the next one we're going to take this into GIMP and we're going to add some texture to it, color, texture, specularity, and hopefully get it looking a little bit better than what it's looking right now. Again, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.